We're headed over to Turtle Lake Brewing Company today, but I think they're going to be closed. This is Untethered. I'm Wesley Green. We're re-entering the lockdown here in Hanoi. I'm in Hanoi, Vietnam. We've been in a lockdown for most of this year to one level or another. I mean, the harshest lockdown was July to September, I think, when it ended. So there you have it. And it looks like it's happening again. Infections are going up. So just telling you this because I want you to be prepared for the place to be closed. If it is closed, we will turn around and do a lovely walk through the Tay Ho neighborhood. Will not be a complete loss, but getting ready for that. Not really ready for that. I don't think they're going to put us into a harsh lockdown again, but a light one would be bad enough. Means you can get delivery, you can get takeout, but you can't go in restaurant. Certainly, tourist sites never even reopened, so we haven't really gotten anything on the show yet that a tourist might do. Some concessions must be made. It is a global pandemic. I'm glad they're keeping it under control. We haven't had any Omicron here yet. I'm sure it's on the way. They're trying to get people vaccinated. And then later, I guess I'll mention, too, that in January, they're supposed to be opening back up to tourists. Granted, not a lot at first, but still, it seems like if you're going into lockdown, I think most of the country, at least most cities, have gone into a kind of light lockdown. So anyway, I'll let them make that decision. It's not up to me, and or should it be? I have no expertise in this. Well, I'm going to flip the camera around because we're here in Tay Ho, at Tay Ho, and we're passing some pretty cool. This looks like a great bar. So I'm going to flip the camera around so you all can see that great bar that is not currently open. And this may seem like it's not quick a way to turn the camera around, but I'm going to tell you the last software I used would literally shut down when I could turn the camera around. Now, if you can find a better bar than that, let me back up. Have you seen it? Can you tell it's a bar? It says 1986 Cafe and Beer. Everybody has coffee here. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. Progress here. This spot on this little strip of land you see, which separates this little pool of water. I'm going to try to put a finger across it. From the main lake, there's a great cafe on the bar, on the right side. You're right, and the left is, and I don't know. I thought it was a steakhouse, but let's see. We'll pass by it. This is Tay Ho. Okay, coffee roasters. Well, that's not a steakhouse at all. I don't know why I thought that. They're only doing takeaway, as everybody. What the sign says there, if you can't read it. But everything's in English because Tay Ho is an expat neighborhood. And I really hate it because it's such a nice neighborhood. And I hate to tell people go to where the expats are, come to Hanoi, but it's a lovely neighborhood. I imagine it's rich people. It usually does make a neighborhood look nicer. And this is Westlake. It's Hotai. Yet again, my screen is completely crooked. I don't know how I can get it to not do that. I'll fix it and then it'll be a problem again. Oh, I forgot to tell people, new to the show, if you're new to the show, I kind of guess I should explain the concept, the show concept. And that is to say that this is a vlog, it's a travel vlog. It's also like a podcast. Trying to get friends to call in. This is just the wrong time of day for everybody I know, so I'm on the show alone today. But usually I try to get people to call in, and then they can ooh and ah where I'm at. And yeah, that's the concept. I hope to take it farther in the future, but for right now, considering we seem to be going back into this light lockdown, I'm going to not worry too much about the future and just focus on the present. And the present today is that we are going to Turtle Lake Brewing Company. And I cannot imagine that they will not be open. I can see clearly now. The rain is gone. Yeah, they won't be open. But we're going to take a little walk around the neighborhood. It's such a nice neighborhood. I will say I do follow the news on infections and whatnot. Infections are through the roof. Infections are much higher than they were in the summer. Deaths are not. The vaccination program is working, but deaths are still up. So we had a dip at the end of the summer lockdown where things were down to almost zero. They almost bottomed out. But as soon as the lockdown ended, things started spiking again. Numbers started spiking, and now both deaths and infections are up. But like I said, deaths not as bad as infections. So, well, you might think deaths would be worse than infections. But no, the numbers are not. The spike is not as severe. Clearly, that's due to the vaccination program. They say Hanoi has a 98% vaccination rate for the adult population. But I think that's one shot. Of course, we know you need two. And then later, I haven't heard anything about boosters yet, but I think they're coming soon, probably at the beginning of the year. Just a few days before New Year's right now, if you're watching this later. And you are, because I don't have any live viewers. That's understandable. It's not normal for a YouTube channel to start out with live streams. And I get that, but there's so many other travel vlogs out there. I don't see any point in trying to compete. Well, I feel like I've passed it now. Okay, I hope this doesn't make the screen go black, but if it does, I'll be back momentarily. No. Okay, we're fine. Continue forward. So I have to really just have faith that people have tolerance for stuff like that. Because this live travel vlog is actually me going to places, hopefully in the future for the first time. Nacho taco. I wonder if they meant to say nacho taco, which would still be just nonsense words, but it could have been what they meant. Nacho. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's something. I don't think it's Vietnamese. I know that. Anyway, I'm going to places for, that'd be a cool street to walk down. We can come back to that. The first time, and I'm trying to put stuff together and figure it out on the fly. So sometimes I have to switch to another app. But one day I will learn how to share the screen and do it that way. Although I think that'll be far more complicated than it used to be. Okay, here we are. We found it. Maybe I won't go this way. I mean, back that way. I have arrived at Turtle Lake Brewing Company, says Google. Let's get closer because I don't think you can see the sign. Turtle Lake. It's worth noting that Vietnam has a really big and active craft brewing scene. I would say it's based in Saigon. I don't know if it started there, but that's definitely the center of it now. But Hanoi definitely has its own group. Takeaways only. Pretty nice patio here. Christmas decorations. Lovely. How can I help you? All right? Yeah, I just wanted to see since I can't eat today. I'm just trying to get something on camera. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe they'll reopen it. Something I wanted to show. With some of the local brewing scene. This is one of the local brewers. They're called Turtle Lake because Hong Kim, the translation is it's actually called Hoglum, but it's basically Turtle Lake. The legend is about a dragon god that gives the sword to the emperor, and then the magical turtle comes to retrieve it and comes through the lake, and so that's why it's called Turtle Lake, and that's why they named their spot Turtle Lake as well. That's the story that they're sticking to. All right. Well, we can still walk Tay Ho. If you're prepared for a Tay Ho action, you can kind of see already why this is such a popular, nice neighborhood. The views are fantastic. You don't usually find an urban lake this large. Of course, like as a regular lake. It's not big at all. But the size of lakes inside cities tend to be rather small. A regular size lake a city would be on, it wouldn't be in the city. But for an urban lake, this is a really, really nice lake. I don't know what's going on with this land we're on right now. It seems like it would have been developed by now. People are pretty much developing everything around the lake. There's only a few spots that are left. We're headed towards the Lonely Tree. I forget what it's marked. It's actually marked on Google, this one tree, because it's a popular tree to come take pictures at. And you can see why too. There's a good background there. Plenty of the city. But it's 17 kilometers around the lake. That's large for an urban lake. That's all I'm saying. All right, we'll hit the tree. You're all gonna be wowed by the fact that there's a tree here. But if you find a tree marked on Google Maps around Tay Ho, sorry. Tay is the lake. Tay Ho is the neighborhood. And this is it. This is that tree. That's the lot center there. I did tried to do a sunset episode there. There's a great bar on the roof. I'm talking about the tall building in the distance. Unfortunately, the signal is not great. I've noticed that before. If you're in tall buildings, it's strange that you can be so high up that you can't get a cell signal. But yeah, if you're in a tall building, often that will be a problem. But anyway, you can still watch it. I think I put music to it or something. Because honestly, you can't hear what's going on. It's not a very useful video. You think the visual would be the most important thing, but it's not. Which is why, let's move on to this great topic, microphone. I've got to find some kind of software that can accommodate a microphone and earpieces. It's strange that these simple things are not accommodated for, but as I mentioned before, live streaming is mostly done by gamers, people playing video games in their basements or whatever they're doing. And that's great, but there's a whole industry that has popped up to serve them. And they're not like generally trying to promote the technology. They're very specifically targeting these people. And their setup is going to be totally different, of course, from mine. Because I'm not in my basement. I've got everything is different. It's not that it's like completely beyond the imagination that you could make a setup that works for mobile live streaming. But even the mobile live streaming, when you look it up, they're like, mobile live stream your video game. Restaurants are still open. They're just only doing takeaway. Fancy buildings, fancy houses. So, as things go into lockdown, this week I think I can accommodate with the episodes that I've already planned. I think I can accommodate this place. No, veterinary clinic. It's a fancy veterinary clinic. Doggies is living in luxury. Yeah, I think I can handle it for this week, but I'll just go ahead and mention I will be shifting to a once a week plan. I didn't mention that already because I think these neighborhood walks can be nice. And I may even come back to Tay Ho since I didn't really plan this one out. But I think they're on an ever shortening list of things that are possible to do on a live stream broadcast. So rather than try and cram 5 episodes of nothing in every week, I just want to do one episode that'll be a nice walk. Maybe just take an hour and walk through one of the popular neighborhoods here in Hanoi, and walk in front of famous sites, if not go in them, and restaurants and whatever else might be there. Oh, so here's a problem we have. I don't think you guys are getting this issue, but for me, I have to keep switching programs in order to get the screen to move. I get a lot of freezing. Anyway, that's part of why I think this is going to be a cool, exciting thing if I can get it to catch on, get it going. Is obviously there's not many people doing it. I can't say no one, but not many. And the reason I know is because none of the software is set up to make it possible. I'm still talking to you through my the microphone on my earpieces, the earbuds. And the reason is because I can't get the software to recognize a separate microphone and speaker. So if I plug in the admittedly cheap microphone that I got for this, which I think would work just fine, it shuts off the speaker, so I can't hear my guests. And one thing about switching to once a week is I can get a higher percentage of guests on the show. Because I can make sure they're going to be able to be there for that time. And if not, I'll shift it. And that's really what I want the show to be about, is chat. I don't know how many people have stuck around, will have stuck around for this whole episode. Maybe nobody. And I get it. There's nobody on the show. It's just me. There's nobody for me to talk to. It's not much of a chat show. And that's supposed to be one of the main themes. So I'm going to try and fix that by just reducing the frequency. All right. And then I'll try and straighten up the angle here. I don't know if I have to whisper. Okay. So I don't know if reducing the frequency will actually get others to join in. Scott's been really great. Prior to this week, he's been really great about doing a lot of the episodes. I don't know if he'll join for any of the end of the week, but I'll let him tell you why. He has a doctor's note. He had an excuse. It's a really good one, but he may not want to talk about it. In which case, I just won't bring it up again, and we'll forget I mentioned it. Empty homes here. One difference between here and the rest of the city is if you see a house that size anywhere else in the city, sorry, it's a rather low-hanging cable here, electrical cable. If you see a house that size anywhere else, you know it's a multifamily house. But I think the money around here implies that would not be the case. I'm going to continue walking along this, because this place looks like it would be a cool place to go. It's Mr. Beer. Same name as a friend of mine had a bar in Chunka named Mr. Beer. I don't even know if it's still in business. I don't know. On Mr. 88. I wonder if that needs to change it next to calling on Mr. 88. You know, it's hard to imagine any any businesses staying in business through all of this. I mean, I'm not of the opinion that the government's main goal should be to keep businesses in business, but so I'm happy with their policy trying to keep people alive here. Nevertheless, I can still feel sorry for the people who are losing their businesses as a result of all this. No, that's not easy. Always parking here. So I guess I should be mentioning what these are. These little cafes. I want to pet this dog. Oh. Oh. Shouldn't. Stray dogs are not really a good thing. All right. He'll probably follow us forever now. Okay. What's the point of the anymore? Yeah, so these little spots here, they're so much fun. You have to imagine the summer. It's December, almost January, so it's not really weather for them anyway. They probably wouldn't have any business. But on a nice hot summer day, to sit here and look out at the lake, and you sit in little chairs they put right up next to the sidewalk, and they serve you whatever, coconut and desserts and juices and whatever. This is a coffee shop too. I've not noticed this one before. Well, that was kind of upscale. They're not just falling victim to the lockdown. They're being bought out and what do you call it? Upsold? No, upgraded. I can totally see it though, because the one summer that I was here, things were normal. This was packed. It's definitely a spot that expats know about and tourists don't. That's why I say I don't really do a lot of travel advice, because live your life how you want to, is all I say. I'm not telling you what to do, but occasionally I have to throw some in. And that's it. If you're going to a place, this is just about any place, even if it's foreign to you, don't avoid the expat area. You might think, oh no, I want only the local stuff, and there's some logic to that. I mean, I get it, and you should. You should spend most of your time seeing the local stuff. But if there's a big expat community, you can get a lot of advice on where to go and what to do. By just going to an expat bar, you know, you don't have to spend the whole vacation there, but try and hang out and talk to some people and find out, you know, what are the good things to do around here. That to me is a secret. Yeah, it's gonna be full of expats, but not just. And it's a great spot to relax and get away from the other tourists. I mean, if you snub your nose at expats, realize that you're probably going to be swimming in other tourists wherever you go. So you might figure out how to get outside of that by talking to some other tourists. Now, having said that, I don't know what I was going to say. It's right out of my head. All the action of live TV, guys. This is a terrible road. I've chosen a terrible road to walk down. It looks like a highway compared to the other little roads we've been walking down. It's not. It's not even 2 lanes wide. There's parking on that side. But after you've been in Hanoi for long enough, Anything more than 4 feet wide seems like a highway. I know one thing I could talk about. I don't know if this is what I was going to say before, but one thing I could talk about is a general issue with travel and going someplace you're not familiar with, but that you want to experience, and you want to know and see what the locals are doing and what's normal there. And then you get there, and you invariably are just constantly surrounded by tourists, even when you think you're doing something local and genuine. And then you get there and you're surrounded by tourists. I remember one of my first exotic, international trips to Peru. And even in doing all the research, which I did, I still had in my head that this is a place that few people have been, forging a trail to an exotic place in the mountains of South America. And of course, my bubble just got burst when I got there, which, right, logically I should have known what it was going to be. But I don't know. I couldn't help that image in my head of the exotic locale, in the mountains. Boy, we'll be the only people on this train which goes up to Machu Picchu, right? And of course, there's a whole tourism industry, there's a whole travel industry there that's there to show you that stuff. Otherwise, it would have been there to research on the internet. But having not traveled much before, I think I had a different view of how many people could afford to do this. I thought we're spending, not many people can be there, right? No, not true. Apparently, there's a lot of money in the world, and they didn't get it all from student loans. They're going places right and left. So I guess that's like the first issue in this train of thought. So when you go places, you really want to see the local place, and you want to see something new and interesting. And it turns out most shit is already on the internet. I'm doing it right now, which is another reason why I'm trying to do this live stream the way I'm doing it, or this YouTube channel the way I'm doing it, because it's not hard to find a plethora of information on the internet about a place. Great pictures and beautiful 4K videos and the like. And the videography skills and the editing skills are way above mine. It's not only done by professional organizations that provide encyclopedic knowledge of a place. And they're doing a great job, and I don't see why I would get into it if I didn't feel like there was something I could provide that was at least different. If not better, at least different. But then I'm also a big fan of podcasts. I mean, just a few. Not like I listen to 1,000 podcasts, but I find them to be something engaging, and which even the prettiest pictures you can imagine and the best editing doesn't do, or at least doesn't do for long. You turn on a YouTube video, and I'm as guilty of this as anybody. You look at a YouTube video, and you see the length is 45 minutes, and you're like, yeah, I'm not clicking on that. That's too much. And the problem is, the longer you're surfing YouTube, the shorter that time gets. At some point, you're looking at a video that is 6 minutes. You're like, 6 minutes. All right, it better be good. You know, like the commitment of 6 minutes is too much. I get why, because there's a virtually infinite number of things on YouTube. What is this thing? It's like a monastery or a temple or something. I can't see the sun. Not that I would necessarily be able to read it. It's Buddhist. I see the symbol. I have to start waiting till I see a Buddhist symbol before I scream, "Oh, it's Buddhist!" Because I said that about everything in town, and then I go to look at it, and I'm like, "Oh no, that's Taoist. Oh no, that's Confucian." But I'm declaring everything to be Buddhist because it's the biggest religion here. I think we looked it up. It was like 15% Buddhist and 7% Catholic. And I don't think there was any third religion that went over 1%, or maybe didn't go over 2 or something like that. But those are the 2 religions here, and they're not big. Now the main category is actually kind of a cheat because it kind of is a religious belief. It's just local traditional belief, which I gotta say in Asia probably trumps every other religion everywhere you go. It's just like miscellaneous, and it's not really an organized religion in any way. It's just traditional belief. Still strong in Asia. Anyway, what were we talking about? It was something about tourism, wasn't it? I gotta say too, I think I have to change my attitude about tours. So, like actually getting a tour somewhere. Because one of the ironies of being a tourist, and I know it's so popular to say you're a traveler, instead of a tourist, and I appreciate the thought, and I'm glad people are thinking that way. But I'm not sure it's always helpful, and I'll tell you why or where. First off, the idea that you want to be a good tourist and therefore call yourself a traveler is great. I want people to be good tourists, not annoying, self-centered, disinterested, bad person. Right? I do want that. But I also want people to remember that they are guests in the country that they're in. This is not your country. It's not your culture. It's not you declare things ought to be one way or the other. You'd be surprised how quickly people revert to that. The minute something goes wrong, people and the thing is, like sometimes, yeah, you have to say, no, this isn't right. And stand up for yourself because you're still in the real world where some people, will take advantage of you if you let them. Like any place. Wow. Like any place, there's going to be some people out there who are looking to take advantage. But boy, you have to be careful. It's not. I would just say it's not like it is in the U.S., where you really do have to be concerned that around every corner someone is there to screw you. Not that everyone in the U.S. is, but boy, it does seem more common. And also, it's usually the people in charge that are doing it in the U.S. So yeah, I mean, there's no absolute answer on how to behave, but I hope people will keep in mind that if you say you're a traveler, remember that means you're not from here. So don't. It's so easy to slip from that attitude into the belligerent tourist who will stamp their feet and declare they have rights when they actually don't. You have to be allowed into a foreign country. You're not a citizen. So I'm glad people are taking the attitude that I'm a traveler. But just remember, that means you're not from this place. Don't assume you know it, and that it's yours to do with as you please. That would be my only concern on that point. But one of the ironies of being a tourist, I tend to just refer to people as tourists. Yeah, that's what we are. If you're touring a place, you're a tourist. Um, um, yeah. One of the ironies is that you go someplace as a tourist and your constant the constant effort you're making the whole time you're there is to avoid other tourists because you're trying to see the place. Tourism can get in the way. The industry can get in the way of actually seeing a place, and that presents a problem because it seems like the harder you struggle to get away from the hordes of tourists, the more someone there whose job it is to sell to you thinks you want to buy, like the upgraded package or something. Like all the rich people who stay in the high-end hotels in a city like Hanoi, they're separated from other tourists. They've succeeded in that, but that doesn't mean that they're seeing the local, place for what it is. Right? If you stay in the Ritz Carlton, and there is a Ritz Carlton under, is it Ritz or Four Seasons? No, I forget. I think it's Four Seasons. Under construction, right on Home Kim Lake. I mean, right there, the traditional heart of the ancient city. You're gonna get Four Seasons there now. I'm sure they'll do a great rich people version of of you know Hanoi Hotel, and it's not that there are no rich people here, so it's completely legitimate to do it. But it's not really much getting to know the population in general. You know what I mean? It's kind of still staying as isolated as they normally are, which, to be fair, I guess is normal for them. So maybe they don't know the difference. But it seems like most people are trying to avoid that. And I guess the point is that it's possible to avoid the tourists and still not experience a place for what it is. And I would suggest the opposite is also true. That you could be in amongst other tourists and still see a place for what it is. I guess I'll just do a short bit on how I feel about the tourists themselves, the tour companies. Or maybe I should say my misunderstanding that has been happening for years. A lovely area with a lot of big buildings going on. So for years I've been very anti-tour. I have not thought that doing a tour was the right option ever. I'm not saying I've never been on one, but in fact, that's probably what turned me against them. I have done tours before, and they've been not so great. And I think I painted the whole process with one brush that said these things are not worth doing. And I think it's like any other product or service. There are quality tours out there that are good and give you exactly what you're looking for, and there are crummy ones that don't. And so in future, I'm going to try and be more open to doing tours, assuming the world, recovers from where it's at right now. And yeah, and hopefully that will add to the show if I can pick good tours. So that would be the trick, is learning to pick good tours. Well, guys, I gotta say, that's not the right thing. I almost did it. Here's what I'm gonna do. Put this blue. Ha ha! Boy, that turns around so quick compared to the last software. That's amazing. All right, I'm not gonna lean on things just to look cool, because that shouldn't have failed. All right, I hope you heard me through this whole episode. I know it's constant trouble with the mic, and I don't know if there's a solution out there. I'm looking for a different software. The rest of this week will be on this software. Thanks for joining me. I'm also going to try these endings to be brief. So thanks for joining me. I hope you'll join the rest of the week as we enter another light lockdown here in Hanoi. Thanks again. Goodbye.